Hi, it's Dr. Lauren Kosinski, and today is Friday, February 23rd, 2024, and this is video number 22 in my 33-day YouTube video challenge. I'm going to talk about the seed house, but I think I want to talk about a little epiphany that I had because we're 2/3 of the way through this exercise, and as you know, I chose as my topic for this series of things, what stands in our way? How do we get to the threshold of doing something, even something that captures our imagination, something that feels like it could be medicine for us, and we have a hard time crossing that line. So my thought a few days ago on my morning walk was that when we listen to an idea and let it take root in us, it's like a seed or an acorn, but the whole tree could be inside of that. We don't know for sure whether that's what's going to happen, but there is a part of us, even when we're sort of a little bit asleep about it, that understands that possibility is there. So that maybe even taking a small step is frightening because it holds the possibility of unraveling the whole thing, like pulling a loose thread in a sweater or something that doesn't seem like much, and then before you know it, it's become a bigger thing than you realized. And the other idea that came to mind about this was how it is that if you're in a marriage or an important relationship, and there's something that is bothering you about it, that you come to a decision point. Well, maybe you come to this decision point again and again until it either goes away or you do something about it. But in the decision to talk about whatever it is that's eating at you, is the realization that this could lead to something bigger and something that's irrevocable. Something that might end up making you see that you don't want to really keep doing things the same way that you have been doing them. And so there's a pretty strong incentive to try to leave it alone. In fact, that's almost elevated. Like there's a virtue in being tolerant of things that are difficult, and we have a lion's share of that. And it is true that staying power, endurance, strength, balance, perspective, things that let you kind of take things in stride and put the irritation of something or the unsettledness of something on a level where you can see it in relationship to other things that have value in your life is really important. But is there also a way that we use that to avoid even knowing what it is that we want? I guess the other thing that comes to mind when I think about this is that at some point I started to wonder about why in medicine we're so worried about complementary health and whether plant medicine does anything useful. And we're very slow to adopt things. And it's almost like there's a fear that if we go down that path even a little way, we're going to lose our minds. Like we'll stop being rational, or we'll lose whatever foothold we have in evidence-based practices. But a part of me wondered about that. Are these things really that strong in a way that it feels like they could threaten the equilibrium of everything that we've made? I mean, if all of this other stuff that we've built and that we're working with is so great and so right and so strong, why would we be worried about these other things? I mean, yes, sometimes it has to do with the idea that somebody doesn't get treatment that they could have that has some proven efficacy. But even when we think about the placebo effect and the fact that in many instances, nearly 50% of people will have some response to something that we attribute to kind of in their head, when if we got a 50% response without side effects to almost any other treatment that we came up with, we would think that was a triumph. So on some level, this is still a question, a meditation on what's frightening and why. And what would really happen if we started to ask ourselves, how could this be better? I mean, is it a dangerous question? And what do we say to that part of us that's longing? I mean, I get some metrics, as I've said, about openings to my emails and click-through rates to websites and stuff, so I can kind of see, is this reaching anybody? Because a lot of people don't answer to me, but I know that it's reaching people, and that they go back. Some people go back months later to open something again. Some people will open something 10 or 20 times. And they're searching in a way. Maybe it's irritating to them. Some people are so irritated that they just say, don't send me this anymore. And when I have some idea about who that person is and what they're interested in, it always is a little surprising to me that there are often people who might be interested in the same kinds of things I am. Is it just too close? Is it unsettling? Yeah. So maybe the question for today is, what unravels if we start to ask, how could this be better? How could we come to work with true joy every day? And, you know, when you're thinking about this, try to move a little bit beyond the EMR and dealing with insurance. I mean, you could put those at the top of your list if you want, but, and I think there are ways, frankly, to get around some of that. But not if we don't even trust ourselves to want what we want. And then think about what would happen if you actually gave way to just even having the thought. As one friend says, thoughts are free. I mean, it's kind of true, but it's kind of not true, right? All right. So we'll continue on the journey of what's happened when I started to ask and answer these questions myself in the next video.